Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car.
Roses would be.
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have,
you'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right? I want to have a man's coolant.
and he's like, "Oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light."
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Welcome to this episode of Auto Off Topic. How goes it, Brad?
Not bad, Andrew. How goes it with you?
Pretty good. We are
Excellent.
to keep on a theme. We're still sort of in winter, even though it's April. It snowed today.
It snowed today, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cold, very raw. We're definitely in the fickle. It might be spring, it might be winter, type of season.
Oh.
But regardless, I've been working on cars, so
We're in the fickle. It might be summer. It might be spring here because it's been like 70, 100, 70, 100. So it was like 80 today, 85.
at minimum, they have not salted the roads again. So that's good. Yeah. But I did not remove my snow tires yet off of any of the vehicles, so it was not my fault that it snowed today. It was not on me.
Somebody has. You know who has? Actually, our friend Scott just posted the other day his pictures of his tires off of his Focus.
That's his fault.
Much like most things in the world, blame the stylus guy.
Yeah. I it's after April 1st, so that's usually my deadline. I think that's going to be next weekend's project when I have some time, is to swap some snow tires off cars.
It's also always all the effort you put into putting snow tires on. It always snows right after you take them off or right before you put them on. It's always the way.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting there. I definitely need to clean both the daily cars because they're just gross inside. The rubber floor mats are coated in salt and sand. So, but anyway,
Project update: Andrew cleans a car.
yeah. I did pull the Montero out of storage, and I was driving that around a little bit. Not much, because it gets like 10 miles a gallon. So, but I used it, and I went over to my dad's garage, and we were working on the Volvo over the weekend and the other night. So I've been working on, I think I talked about making the bracket for the fuse panel. And I got
it. I think last we heard you had just sent it off to send to get cut.
That's right, because we did this on a Tuesday and I was working on it Monday night. So yeah, I got it back on Saturday and it was basically perfect. One of the holes could be adjusted a little bit. So I took the plastic fuse panel and just reamed out one of the holes just a tiny bit to make the bolt fit better. But other than that, it was perfect. I didn't even have to drill it for riv nuts as I'd planned. I made the hole. I had them make holes in it that were the right size for the riv nuts to go in it already, and I just pushed them in and crimped it. I didn't have to drill it at all, so that was pretty
Quick
cool.
and easy.
Yeah, I just had to
really nice, and it's black powder coat too.
Yeah, it's black crinkle powder coat. Yeah, it was like with shipping, it was like $38 or something, or it was around $40, something. Like, I don't know.
Totally worth it.
I think eventually maybe I'll just offer it to other people with Volvos, but we'll see. I wanted to make sure it was fit all right and worked well first. So I bent it. I had to bend it a little bit because it was just flat metal. but I just had to make one bend. I basically just kind of put it in the vise and kind of matched it to the other piece, and yeah, bolted right in. The fuse panel went right on it. I actually ran out of spade connectors that I needed to, because the original fuse panel, like on one side, three of the fuses are bussed together. On the other side, four of them are bussed together. So you kind of have to do the sort of like multiple spade connector deals to make it work. And you got to do little jumper wires to kind of put them together. But having real modern fuses in there is a much better improvement. And the way I did it was because those clips get kind of tight in there, I just heat shrunk over them to insulate them. It looks pretty good. I got to finish off one of them. I've actually got two extra fuse slots because one is for overdrive that the car doesn't have. And then the fuse panel had an extra spot to begin with. So that's cool because going over the wiring diagrams, the cigarette lighter is just in there unfused from the factory.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, did like a double take, like reading the wiring diagrams. I'm like, no, it's fed from the main side of the main feeds from under the hood and just goes up into the dash. I was like, all right, so I've got a space it's not gonna be a cigarette lighter, it'll be USB port.
Sure.
So it'll have its own fuse. And then the radio has, looking over the fuse panel, there's an optional slot on the ignition switch, like a spade, to power a radio that was unused. So I'm not sure where the guy was powering off the radio because I cut all the wires out. I don't know what it was attached to. Um, so I can run that through a fuse and power,
Through heat
whatever
power.
I run, a Bluetooth amp or
Yeah.
something. So that'll be cool. So that's really what I need that for. And then, um, it took me a few hours just kind of swapping the wires over, make sure they're nice and neat. It looks really good in there. And then I've been checking other stuff. There was a single black wire that was cut and just hanging out under the dash. And I'm not sure what was attached to it. I don't remember. Maybe I undid the wire nut, but it was going into the factory harness. So I was like playing with a power probe and like I power probed it and it clicked on the relays I have under the hood. I was like, that's interesting.
Interesting.
So then I looked at the wiring diagram and it's weird the way some of these wiring is done. It's normally powered. It's for the wipers, but it's like normally powered off the same circuit as the ignition and hooked into the fuse panel. So basically, I was back feeding it and turning on the ignition relay by using the power probe because I was on the
Oops.
wrong side of it. Yeah, it's got to go into the fuse panel, I believe. For whatever reason, was
Take
cut.
a quick second here to shout out Power Probe because the is the best tool of all time.
It's pretty good. Power
I
probe,
love that thing.
a meter, and the factory wiring diagrams, and you can fix
Yeah,
most
you can do
anything.
anything. Yeah.
That's really the key. When people are confused and they're like posting online about how to do wiring, they don't understand it. It's because they don't have the wiring diagram. If you have the
Yeah.
wiring
I,
diagram, try to navigate without a map.
yeah, your father gifted me a Power Probe, I think maybe for my 40th birthday or something. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, it's a very often used gift.
Yeah.
Great tool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not even sure if the wipers were working in this car because I never tried them. Like,
Right.
so maybe the switch. I don't know. I don't know why the wiring was done this way, and that was the other thing. So I think when you were over there, we had it running, or probably I talked about it. The headlights, when you would start the car up and run it, the headlights were just on, which is
Yep.
like weird. And then you
And
had
high beam switch didn't do anything.
the high beam switch did nothing. And there was a wire I could see near the headlight relay, which is under the hood on the top of the dash or on top of the firewall. There was a wire not connected to it. And I was like, well, that's a later problem. So that's what I looked at last night. So I went through the wiring diagram, and I traced back those wires, started the ignition switch. There's a pretty thick power wire coming off the ignition switch wrapped in thick electrical tape. And I was like, this is kind of weird. It's never good when you see somebody wrap a bunch of electrical tape around a wire. It's usually something's messed up. It's this very short length of wire that runs from the ignition switch right up under the dash, the headlight switch, direct power, no fuse, factory. So I unwrapped it, and basically the entire insulation is just melted. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know how this car didn't burn down at some point. Like, that must have
Or
smoked
did,
so
or
bad.
caught on fire and they unplugged the battery or something and got the fire out. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah, you sent a picture of that wire. It was gnarly.
yeah,
Yeah. It was not an event that somebody did not know happened. That made a lot of smoke,
yeah.
guaranteed.
So that wire directly powers from the battery when the ignition is on, or maybe even when the ignition's off, uh, to the headlight switch without any fuse. And then from there, it travels out to the relay. So that will be replaced with a similar gauge wire with an inline fuse now, because it's only
Yeah.
like half a foot of wire. And I'll put that right to the switch. Because that's it. The easy thing with this car is most everything is spade connectors as far as fixing things, which is
Okay.
kind of nice.
Yeah, it's
Um,
old European cars. A lot of them are like that.
so then I follow the wires out over the headlight relay, and I'm looking at the wiring diagram, and I can see on it where the factory wires have not been touched, and they're going out to the headlights, according to the diagram. And then there's three other wires. There's like a yellow, a green, and a red. And I'm looking at them, and luckily, again, because it's a European car, an old one, if you flip over the relay, it's got the terminals labeled on it because I think it's
Yep.
like a Bosch relay,
Sure.
and they're written.
85, 87, whatever.
Yeah, well, confusingly, one was 81B and the other one was like 31A. I was like, why do they use 3 and 8? It's like when the
Yeah,
thing
it's
is
annoying.
dirty and black and you're trying to look at it, it's like, uh, so yeah, I'm like double checking. I'm like, wait a minute, the red was off, completely off of it. So these three that were messed up had replaced spades on them. So something happened and someone replaced the spades.
Probably
And
when that fire happened.
yeah, I don't know. Or it was the cause of the fire. I'm not sure because it was causing the headlights to be on all the time and just the high beams. And with old sealed beams, that stuff gets hot, draws a lot of
Ton
power.
of draw. Yeah.
So now I've got LEDs in there. It'll be
Draw.
far less draw. So that's the other reason to put LEDs in there as far as headlights, which the vintage diodes are pretty sweet. They're that nice warm color. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm looking at the diagram and they're in the wrong location. I was like, okay, so I put them back where they needed to go. And then that wire's super scary that powers that whole thing. So we hooked it to the power probe in case it was shorted somewhere. The power probe would just trip and not do anything bad. Turned it on, turned the headlights on. Boom, low beams. Cool. Click the stock on the steering column, flips to high beams. Sweet. You can hear the relay clicking. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't like somebody just did it weird. I don't
Didn't
know.
they're
Didn't have the
doing.
wiring diagram. Put it back together the wrong way. The thing that's kind of annoying is like one of them is kind of stretched because it's a little bit shorter, and maybe that's what happened. Like they did it, took them all off to fix them, and then realized like, oh, this one doesn't reach this far. It must not be the right one, and put it to where it reached. It was basically
Which
like
is obviously
wired.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just wired so that it just it every time it was powered up, the high beams were just on the whole time. So
This is basically almost the same problem I had with the Mercor
yeah.
when I was draining a battery all the time. Because every time I turned the ignition off, the relays for the headlights were backwards. The relays would just click on. So the ignition off, the relays were on, and it was just draining the battery while it was sitting.
Ah.
So
So
similar
yeah,
situation.
double check stuff with power probe, at least a meter,
Multimeter.
and definitely get some wire diagrams, especially when you have older cars like this. Basically, someone has PDF'd the wire diagrams. They exist somewhere.
Yep.
So
Yep. Even newer cars, honestly, anything older than like 2015, you can usually find a diagram for it. The newer stuff's still stuck behind factory backed stuff, but any older stuff's been easy.
that was big
that's cool.
progress on the wiring. What I didn't check actually, uh, I'm curious now if maybe the brake lights work because the brake lights weren't working. And now that I've cleaned up some of the wiring, I'm wondering if I step on the brake lights will work.
Probably in that same circuit as the headlights because it's all done with running lights. So it's probably something shared there.
Yeah. Um, so I'll have
Because
to double
they'd
check
also
that.
come on with the stock. So
So all the running lights were working, but um, it didn't have brake lights when you stepped on the pedal. So I'll check that next time I go over there and we have it powered up. But we
it could
know that I
also
know that,
even just be that the bulbs are out.
well, yeah, I guess the brake light portion of the bulb, it's a two-way bulb, could be out. Can check that as well. The running lights, like I said, did work. The turn signals work, front and rear, side markers. Reverse lights worked when you put the transmission in reverse. So we'll see. And I've got that extra light I'm going to use as a third brake light that looks like an old
Yeah,
school fog
you
light.
sent a picture of that. That looks good.
It's even the right color of lens, basically, that
Yeah,
dark red
it's
lens.
perfect.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, that'll look pretty cool. It's not super high up, but at least it's like another light.
more attention. Yeah, it's more
uh,
attention.
I wonder if I can open up. I should open up and see what's inside. If I can do like an LED in there. So
I'm sure it's just an is that H11 usually?
maybe it's one of the
Oh,
ones where the housing is the also the ground. It's a single wire.
yep.
So I'll see what's in there. Um, the other thing I did was made
If not, you
sure
could probably modify it and use a new style thing in there and get rid of the housing being the ground and just run a two-wire connector out of it. I'm sure you can
I probably can.
upgrade it in some way.
I might do for the brake lights because I believe they're separate from the running lights. I might do those as LED bulbs too, and just leave everything else. Um,
Just for the brightness.
yeah,
The only issue with that I've noticed on some old cars with LEDs is you got to make sure you have ones that don't just face out.
yes.
So
And to buy nice ones, you
otherwise
can't buy like
they don't hit the reflector correct.
yeah. Um, yeah, I'll look into that. It's a later thing to figure out. And then I think I talked about draining the fuel. So I threw some fresh gas in it and connected the fuel filter to the fuel pump, and we got it purged a little bit. But we haven't run it yet. Oh, and the radiator. So I thought the core was leaking. I was kind of unsure. Um, we put a pressure tester on it. It's strange because I grabbed the upper hose and squeezed it really hard and nothing came out. We put a pressure tester on it, goes to like 10 psi, and it started just like hissing out around the hose clamps on the upper radiator hose, which I thought were tight. They were tight enough to run it and not burst off, but apparently, as the thing heat cycled a couple times, they were not tight enough. So I
Hmm.
clamped them up as it was hissing until it stopped on all the hose clamps, and it seems to be good now. So I VP Auto Parts did send me another radiator, and they were very nice about it, and I sent it back to them today unopened and sent a email saying thank you. I'm sorry I was wrong, but I still appreciate you guys.
I'm sure they appreciate getting their part back too.
So yeah, I'll definitely buy more from them, and you should if you have Volvo buy parts from them.
You almost don't have a choice.
Yeah, but that's we're getting pretty close. I think
Dangerously close.
I'm hoping the next couple of things. So I don't think there's much more wiring. Um, bleed the brakes and throw the hood on it and take it around the block is like the next few steps. So
That's pretty amazing.
yeah,
That's really honestly like the end of the line for all the major stuff. Then it's just gonna be fiddling with little things to make it work right.
yeah,
So
doing interior spiffing up because
my
it's got
my
that.
guess is you're gonna make the first Marblehead cruise in show.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident now.
Yep.
The yeah, the interior needs like a lot of spiffing up. It's got that rubber 70s matte, like
Mhm.
that's pretty common. And I've been working in the interior, and literally every time I accidentally like push my elbow into it or something, it just shatters.
breaks apart. Yeah.
There's so many pieces of it just hanging around the interior right now.
It's funny when going back to the Mercor, when I got the Mercor, I thought the fender liners were falling apart, and I was annoyed because of that same kind of rubber material. And every time I would touch it, it would break off and fall down. And every time I drive the car, it would hit bumps and shake and rattle and fall. And then I got annoyed and pulled it all out one day and realized that somebody's put that same kind of rubber mat over the factory fender liners.
Oh, weird.
And the factory fender liners are fine. So I was like, okay,
Like
what a
the other
weird thing
night,
to do.
I was in there working on it, and it's got those dumb seats with the stupid high sides.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You
And
remember
like
those?
I was leaning over him, I slipped off my elbow, and I like elbow dropped the center console, and it was like, like it just shattered a bunch of the rubber. I was like,
Yeah.
ah.
Console's fine though, right?
There's no console there. It's just like the center tunnel.
Oh, wow. Okay, the center tunnel. Okay.
Yeah.
Do they
There's like
make a
a
carpet kit for the car? I assume they make a
they do.
carpet kit if you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
VP Auto Parts has carpet kit, so
yeah.
just get a black carpet kit for it.
It's probably the way to go. I know that ACC Auto Custom Carpets, they have carpets for almost every car because they make them to order, and it's just a pattern they cut out. So I mean, they're one of the only places I can ever look up Dodge Colt parts and get a
Mm.
result. So, but they have carpet kits for everything. So I'm sure they'll be good. If worst case scenario, because a carpet would make the car much nicer inside.
Yeah. I'd probably throw maybe a little Dynamat on the floor too under the
Yeah,
carpet.
a layer of the thin stuff
Mhm.
inside, probably inside the doors, on the floor. A couple places would be nice.
Yeah.
Make it a little more modern inside. I was actually having a conversation this weekend with um, stepson Jordan about stereo in the Starion, and he's talking about lining the inside of doors with the thinner, lighter Dynamat, not the crazy heavy stuff.
Yeah.
We hatched a
Just
whole plan for that. So
just a little bit of sound deadening and protect you from heat because you don't have any
yep.
there's probably not much insulation in there. So,
The Starion, actually, the door panels have like, but they're super thick. So
yeah.
they probably are better than most cars. But yes, it will definitely help. So
So, yeah, I made really good progress on the Volvo as from having months of zero progress. So, that's where I'm at.
dang winter. Good. That's exciting news. I'm happy that you're nearing the end of the story. Speaking of ends of the story, we will not be updating the 2005 Mitsubishi Lancer story anymore.
Okay.
So the car is going away.
Okay.
So reached my end point of patience with that car and decided that it was time to figure out something. And timing worked out perfectly. That same aforementioned Jordan had just gotten in on trade for labor, 2001 Honda Accord, um, in really nice condition, like 190,000 mile V6, fresh water pump, fresh timing belt, fresh struts, fresh power steering pump, fresh AC service, all nice audio equipment, just a clean, rust-free, under 200,000 mile 2001 Honda Accord, um, which I'd never driven at that generation Honda Accord V6. It's surprisingly fast for what it is. Um, what a good car though. So I made a deal with him to he's taking the Lancer off our hands, and we're taking the Honda Accord, and that's going to Roberto, and he will drive that, and I'll never have to worry about that Lancer again. That seems to be nothing but one problem after another. So hopefully that solves all those problems. So, and you do a couple minor things to the Accord, just but they're all pretty much cosmetic stuff. Like it's missing the rear view mirror on the interior, but it needs a windshield anyway. So I'll wait to get a windshield to do that. The turn signal switch works, but it's just flopping around in there. So we need to get a turn signal switch, probably from a junkyard. And it's missing the passenger side sun visor. So, and it's got a dent in the fender, which those Honda Accords is so common, and that tan color seems to be the most common, that I could probably get a paint matched fender at a junkyard for $50. So I think it's the right move, and Roberto is super happy because the car drives really nice. Also has 4 brand new tires on it, so I think that we'll be happy and not have to do any more project car updates on that Lancer because it was taking all of my time working on cars, working on that car, and I'm glad to have moved on to something else. So hopefully this is third time's a charm because I'm sure you all remember the story of the Jetta and then the Lancer and now the Accord. So hopefully this works out. But moving on to actual project car updates. I think I promised last week, Andrew, that I would have the Starion running by this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, we recorded the episode 2 days earlier than normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have it running, but
Mm-mm.
it is incredibly, incredibly close. After podcast last week, I went outside and I did a bunch of degreaser on the outside of the tank,
Yep.
let it sit overnight. The next day, I went out there and I hit both sides of the tank, top and bottom, with the Rust-Oleum. It's like direct over rust primer,
Mm-hmm.
that brown color. It's supposed to encapsulate any rust underneath it, not make it any worse. So there wasn't a lot of rot on there because all the rot been taken care of by Michael when he welded the holes up. But there was surface rust on things, and I just wanted to get a good coating on everything. So I did that. Then I did the whole top of the tank afterwards with the aerosol can of PUR 15 top coat that we discussed a couple episodes ago on Naomi's Mustang. I used that on the top of the tank. And then once that had set up and dried, I flipped the tank over and I had bought some rubberized undercoat in an aerosol can through the bottom because that's the way the factory tank was. It was like a semi-gloss black on top and the rubberized undercoat in the bottom, which should hopefully protect it from debris and whatnot in the road. Uh, I can't be happier with how it looks. The thing looks brand new. I mean, you saw pictures. It looks like a brand new tank. And actually, I was standing in the garage watching some Final Four basketball with Roberto the other day and talking about the tank. And he looked at it, he's like, "Oh, this isn't just new?" I was like, "No, no, this is a restored tank." He's like, "Oh, I thought it was brand new." So it definitely looks the part. So I'm stoked on that. Um, the big issue I had was when I took apart the tank initially. We've discussed these Mitsubishi fuel fittings before. They're a barbed fitting, but then they're crimped on from the factory. But obviously, all these years later, you can't buy those fittings anymore. And they're not just a straight fitting, it's a banjo fitting with a 90-degree bend on it. So what happens is the fuel comes out the pump. This goes around the end of the pump. It goes out the pump into the fuel dampener, which is supposed to take away any delay or pulse from the fuel pump to the injector, into the dampener, back down into the banjo fitting and out the tube to the car. So it's not a part you can just buy off the shelf somewhere, unfortunately. And when I had taken it off the car, I had used the metal wheel to take off the crimped connector, and I slipped and I cut the barbed fitting, which is obviously not ideal.
Yeah, we were
So
doing
I
the
spent
we're doing the Ron method of replacing hoses.
yes, yeah, yeah, exactly. Which it turns out was already done on the front of the car. So somebody had already replaced the feed hose from the filter to the throttle body and had done this method many years ago on this car, probably
Really?
when the original dry rotted and broke. Yeah.
Huh.
So that was easy to take apart. Anyway, I'm replacing all that with that braided stuff from MKS. But anyway, I went like a whole day going back and forth trying to figure out what to do because you can't buy the part from Mitsubishi or anywhere. And it's not a standard um, banjo fitting because one side is a smaller opening than the other. So one side has the standard size fitting to go over the fitting that comes out of the fuel pump. The other side though is more open so that it has can flow more fuel in and out through that dampener. And then the copper washer that goes on it has like these little fingers that go around to allow room for the fuel to pass without being blocked off.
Yeah.
So I went back and forth like a whole day trying to figure out what to do. Um, Chatted with people in the Discord. There's our advertiser Discord this week. Please come join the Discord. About whether I even needed the fuel dampener or not. Um, because if you eliminate the fuel dampener, you don't need this fitting at all, and you can just run a straight fitting, like a standard barbed fitting off the end
Yeah.
of the pump. And it was like a 50-50 mix. Some people were like, yeah, no problem. Take the dampener off, throw the trash. And then some people were like, well, you don't really know until you run it. And then looking online, it seemed like that most modern fuel pumps shouldn't require the dampener like one from 1984 would have, just because they're more efficient and they run smoother now.
Mm.
But after a whole day of trying to figure this out, I was like, you dummy, you have a parts car under a cover in the backyard. Why don't you just go to the parts car and take the fitting off the fuel pump? So that's what I did. But
Nice.
I'm sure you remember said parts car is a giant rusty piece of garbage.
It is,
And
yeah.
this fitting is also a giant rusty piece of garbage.
Mm.
So I soaked it in some kind of rust spray inside the car. If you remember, Andrew, I'm sure you remember think back all the way to 2016 when we put the fuel pump in that car. We didn't care about the shell of the car because it was very rusty. So we just cut a giant old hole in the floor to access the fuel pump.
Yeah.
So at least it was easy to access it. I was able to break the rust free and get it off, but it was a disaster. And there's no way it would have sealed without doing some serious work to it. Um, Thankfully, Naomi is the best person ever. And like a month ago, she randomly came home with um, yep. What's the name of that machine that I was talking about last night?
Ultrasonic cleaner.
Ultrasonic cleaner. Thank you. An ultrasonic cleaner. Because we were talking about rebuilding brakes in a car and having to ultrasonic clean the pistons and the calipers. And so she bought one of those a few weeks ago, and we hadn't had a chance to use it yet. So I was like, you know what? This is a perfect time to try this ultrasonic cleaner on this little metal fitting that I took off the car. So didn't have any idea how to use an ultrasonic cleaner. It's a Harbor Freight one, nothing fancy, but supposedly they work pretty well. The cleaning solution that Harbor Freight sells is like a white powder, and you put distilled water in the ultrasonic cleaner, then the white powder, and then you let it go. So all the grease came off. It worked great for that, but didn't really touch the rust. And then I was like, huh, that's interesting. I wonder how to get rust off. Because I know you can use an ultrasonic cleaner to help with rust removal. Um, did a little more digging and actually learned that evaporust, which we love, we've used for lots of things in the past, is capable of being used in the ultrasonic cleaner. And it
Oh.
just basically it exacerbates the effect of the evaporust in a quicker manner. So normally you put stuff in evaporust, you let it sit for like 24 hours, and you take it out, and a lot of the rust has come off. With this, I ran it for two 20-minute cycles at 65 degrees Celsius,
Mm-hmm.
and it came out looking as new as a part, as rusty as it was could. So some of the exterior metal where the caked on rust was has been it's missing just because of the way rust works.
Hmm.
So it's not perfect looking on the outside, but it's perfectly bare metal now. There's no more rust on anything. Everything cleaned up really nicely. The inside of it, more importantly, looks flawless, and it'll be able to bolt it on and use it in the car with the fuel dampener. Because I wanted to use the fuel dampener because I bought a brand new one, so I was like, be stupid to throw it away because I bought it from a very small independent seller and I don't want to return it, and it was like $65.
Mm.
So I want to use it. Anyway, that brings me to side story number one. I think there's only one. So, side story. Do you remember the problem with the Starion we were having and why it never got driven again? The old Starion.
Not really.
It wouldn't rev past about 4,000 RPM.
Yeah, I remember that now vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, and we knew it was fuel delivery and we couldn't figure out why. And we did a bunch of tuning to it. We replaced the fuel filter, we replaced a couple of lines in different places. I did all the resets on the TPS and all the other I cleaned the injectors. I did tons of stuff to that car to try to make it work, and it never worked. In
Yeah.
taking it apart, I've learned now 100% it was my fault that did not work. So that whole conversation we just had about the fitting having a closed side and an open
So,
side.
did you replace that pump uh at a different point than I feel like the time we cut it out? Because I thought I was
No.
careful putting that back together the way it came, but
No, we did it right then. That was the first time we'd ever done it.
Hmm.
So what we did was we didn't pay attention to the fact that one side of that fitting was larger than the other, and we put the same size copper crush washer on both sides. So
Oh.
when you do that, effectively the crush washer goes up into the fuel dampener and it blocks the return holes.
Ah.
So it was getting a dribble of fuel that was going through the pump. It was not getting full fuel pressure, which is why it ran great sitting still. It would rev to red line parked. It would
Hmm.
accelerate normally in normal traffic, but the second it hit about 4,000 RPM, it just sputtered and died. That's because it was getting enough fuel, but not enough fuel. So it couldn't keep up with the demand based on the choke point that we had in that fuel line. So is it frustrating? 100%. Does it matter? Doesn't matter at all because the car's getting taken apart now anyway. And I was even thinking, like, worst case scenario, the car still does run. I can just run a straight hose off of that fuel line back to the car if I need to run the car for anything. So it's fine. But my guess is now if I just ran a hose from there to the throttle body, the car would run flawless and accelerate the way it should. And I could have been
Hmm.
driving it as a garbage old car this whole time and just didn't. So anyway, it is what it is. That's one of those live and learn moments. The more you know, now you know. If I had ever done any more digging and changed out the fuel pump, I probably would have figured it out at that point. But I didn't. So here we are. So I will not make that mistake putting this car back together now. I will put the proper copper washer on the other side that has the little fingers on it to not block the fuel from going in there. So I think that was the problem. Anyway, so that's good. The pickup tube that goes down into the tank was all rusty from sitting in the fuel. So I cleaned that with the Evapo Rust and a piece of steel wool. Got that looking pretty much brand new. The sending unit for the gauge right now is actually out back sitting in a bath of Evapo Rust.
Hmm.
It's too big to put in the cleaner, so I'm just letting that sit in there. Um, all that's left now, I had a couple of broken wires from when I took the tank out that were brittle that broke. I've repaired all the wiring under the bottom of the car. I was given actually by Naomi again for Christmas this year a nice electronic repair kit, and it comes with all of those connectors that have the solder built into them, and it comes with a really nice heat gun with the metal little curly Q on the end of it, so you can put that around the connector, and it puts an even heat all the way around the the shrink connector as you're putting it on there. It worked amazingly well. Almost no effort at all. So that worked out really well. And I also got a new set of for Christmas a new set of crimping pliers that have the like the ones with the moving jar on the top that kind of do all the thing at one quick swoop.
Hmm.
So that made that job replacing all those wires super easy. Heat shrinked it all up, put it together. You'd never know I was in there if it wasn't for the fact that it doesn't have the factory style cover on it. So that's all done. I put the fuel filler neck back, bolted back to the car. I have a new rubber extension to go from the filler neck to the tank because the old one was just hard and fell apart. And the only thing that's left is once I pull that sending unit for the fuel level sender out of the evapor rust, I can assemble everything and have the tank in hopefully within an hour or two, I think, if all goes according to plan, which I don't see why it wouldn't at this point because I've done so much prep work for this tank.
Yeah.
I spent more time restoring this tank than I probably should have, but it looks brand new. So I'm super excited about it. I'll get some pictures together once I have all the fittings on it and everything reassembled and get together. I've already replaced all of the vacuum lines that go on the top from the evap canister, cleaned out the evap canister, cleaned the outside of the evap canister, so that looks new. Everything is just everything looks spectacular, and I'm excited to get it back together. The only thing I couldn't find anywhere is the black rubber gaskets that go around the pickup tube and the level sender.
Hmm.
Nobody makes the ones anymore that fit that car exactly. So I think I saved the old ones as far as the actual, they came apart without breaking apart, but they're pretty hard. So I might reuse those, but also use some fuel safe RTV around the edge just to kind of make sure it gets a good seal. I don't think that should bother anything. So that's my plan for putting that back together, but that will all be hidden underneath the cadmium plated kind of pieces that go on top, so you'll never even see the gray RTV. It'll just be a little bit extra, so I don't have a leaky fuel tank when I put it all together. Because I think that that would be the issue. Because the other ones, like I said, they're one piece, but they're so hard. I don't know if they'd actually seal anymore. So I think a little bit of gray RTV won't hurt. Hopefully, as long as I don't put too much in there and fill the tank with it. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about that. Everything else is pretty much ready to go. I have the front section of the fuel line all taken apart.
Mhm.
I just can't put it back together until I finish the tank in the back because I want to jack the front up. And now I have the back jacked up. It wouldn't really work to jack the front up right now. So I'll get the back all done, take care of the front. And I mean, we're countdown. Today's Tuesday. Like I said, we're recording early this week. I see no reason it should not be running this week. So my hope was to have it done by the time we record because normally we record Thursday, but we're recording early, so it's not there. But it's just so close. It's I can feel it. I did mention really quickly that we were planning a stereo in the car.
Yeah.
I love the factory radio in that car. It's got that
Mm,
cool graphic equalizer and the cool like flat face on it.
it does.
So we devised a plan to keep the factory radio. The factory radio will run the control for everything.
Okay.
And there's a product that I was unaware of that Jordan knows because he builds car stereos for a living.
Mhm.
That basically it takes power, it takes over the amplifier for the car radio. So it becomes its own amplifier.
Okay.
And you replace all the speakers with modern speakers, and they're powered by the modern amplifier. But the radio itself can still control the input for audio as far as like radio, the cassette deck that's in there. We're going to wire in Bluetooth to it as well. It will all be hidden. And the Bluetooth adapter goes through the AM FM of the radio, but interrupts the signal at the antenna. So it's not like a Bluetooth module, so it doesn't actually suck. It actually works really well. So
Hmm.
it's a whole thing. I am way on a. We went over real quickly. He showed me all the products, showed me what we need to buy. When we get everything, I'll have a better understanding of it and I'll explain it better. But I'm pretty excited for it. And we're gonna do that whole system. So we're gonna do two new door speakers, two new speakers in the rear. They're all, I think, 5.25 inch speakers. So we'll just do three ways all around. And he's gonna build me a nice little enclosure for the back for a little tiny, like 6 inch sub, just for a little bit of extra bass sound and have the whole thing set up nice. So it'll be a nice road trip car with a nice radio in
Hmm.
it. Doesn't take any space in the trunk. So excited about that too. And for now, um, I have switched over the old 8 ball shifter from the other Starion into there. So
All right.
I'm gonna buy a new EPCO for it eventually, but that's
So
the plan right now.
yeah, we gotta talk to him about what we can do for vintage cars with the two knob radio
Sure.
because they need a
There's
solution for
tons
the
of stuff out
Volvo.
there. Yeah. Well, you could buy like a retro sound or something.
They're very expensive and they're
And
not very good.
there's other versions of those that are less money. So,
Yeah.
or you could just do what I did in the Corolla, which is just have a completely separate control system, nothing to do with the radio at all, and it just hides in the center console. Or in your case, you can put it between the seats or
Right.
whatever.
But I don't have a
Mount
radio
the
to
bottom
go
of the
in the
dash.
slot. So my other thinking
Okay,
was like a 3D printed thing that looks like a radio that just
and
maybe
just
has a shelf
holds.
behind it to hold that piece.
Sure. Yeah, that I can explain to how to do. That was very simple. It's just its own completely self-contained audio unit that has an amplifier in it, and it's powered by the keyed power. And when you turn it on, automatically sends the Bluetooth signal out and automatically connects to your well, automatically connects to your already connected device if it's like I could do it once before.
Hmm.
So, and the one they make a couple different ones, some that have one or two knobs, some that have like five knobs, all depending on how much control you want. It's actually a home audio system that's originally started as like a home audio thing, but they started selling them for 12-volt applications.
Hmm.
So, anyway, that's very easy, but we'll look more into that. But he definitely will have an idea of something to run for you. So I'm excited to be able to use the stock radio as much as possible because I love it. It's just so 80s and dumb. And then finally, I have made a call on wheel and tire situation, um, mostly because you guilted me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been I've had this dream in my head forever to run those watts on a Starion.
Mm-hmm.
I bought those watts for the Starion when I bought them. Um, but I think that for the first iteration of this car, because it's going to be done and finished in stock, I will run the Yankees that are on the old Starion.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I revamp the suspension and play with the stance and all of the suspension components, then I'll put the watts on. I think will be the
All right.
plan. So both wheels are the same size. So when I change wheels, I can just swap tires around. So no big deal. I haven't figured out tires yet, but I think you guilted me into it because I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, it would be cool to have that car back the way it used to look back in 2008. Even though it was incredibly
Yeah.
rusty, it still looked cool from afar. So I'm okay with it. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm not gonna change the watts yet, but when I eventually do suspension on the car, it'll get the watts. So one step at a time. I figure I'll run it for a while first, bone stock, and then make all the improvements from there. So the only thing that won't be stock on this iteration will be exhaust because it's broken. So I'll change the exhaust out. But it's actually only broken from where it bolts to the axle portion back. So it should be fairly easy to get fixed.
Hmm.
So just gotta figure out what tip style to run. But yeah, I'm excited. This thing is very close to done. So that's just detailing cleaning. Oh, I took the. I'm sure you remember. Listeners probably don't remember because they're not weird about stuff like we are. The spoiler on the back of the old Starion,
Yeah.
the roof spoiler. I took that off to
Oh,
transfer that
nice.
over to the new car. So I didn't realize it was double-sided tape to the window. So it took a little bit more effort than I thought, because it has a really very ultra thin piece of sheet metal that goes from left to right, and
Hmm.
that was double-sided tape to the glass. Thankfully, it was double-sided tape to the glass in 1986 because I have the
Yeah.
invoice from when he bought it and had it installed. So it was fairly brittle. The double-sided tape was, but it bent the bottom mounting piece a little bit, so it's gonna take a little massaging to put in the new car, but it's fine. It'll be good. And that's the coolest piece of the old car. So yeah, good stuff. Project
Nice.
car updates updated. I haven't
Cool.
touched anything else. It's all been Starion this week.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yep. Hopefully it works. Fingers crossed. The big like unknown is
Yeah.
the original owner's son that I bought it from claims the turbo was blown. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know.
When I started, it didn't smoke, so it doesn't have blown like oil seals or anything. So who knows what it is? Maybe it's frozen. But even if it is, there's that parts car 10 feet away. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna stress about it.
No, I
It won't
wouldn't.
be the first time I've changed a turbo in a Starion. It's not a hard job. It's right on top. Anyway, what else you got, Andrew? You look like you're fighting to stay awake tonight.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
Okay.
We had a topic. I was told we need
You
some
do?
topic jingle, so I have to think about that.
Yeah,
Maybe it
not
should
this
be
week,
the
but maybe next time.
maybe it should be the chime, the door chime from the Starion.
Ooh, that's good. I can put a recording of it together.
Yeah, and then you give it to me. So maybe that'll be a future
Basically, how
improvement.
dry the traditional song "How Dry I Am," just in 8-bit chime.
Yeah. So our
I did
theme.
learn.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
I
Sorry.
did learn that 1986 only Starion Technicas came with a talk box, like my Sapporo does.
Oh,
Yeah, fun
huh.
fact.
Interesting.
Only 86 though, for some reason. I've had 84, 87, 88. I never had an 86. So, and had to be. I think it had to be a Technica Starion, or maybe 86. It wasn't Technica anymore. I don't remember. Nonetheless, whatever package it had to be, one package came with the talk box instead of the chime. But, topic time.
All right. So Our topic was uh, best or worst automotive themed movies. We probably covered this, but it was probably over or close to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And some new movies have come out,
We've been rambling for a long time.
and I've seen some new movies that were old movies, but I've seen them now. So kind of limited it. I have a few choices here. You've got some, or are you going to riff on my choices?
Well, why don't we riff on each other's choices? Because
All right.
we're pretty good at making fun of each other's choices for things. Are you starting best or worst?
Uh, it's just kind of movies that I like and car themed movies that I like and just things about them that I like and don't like, I guess.
Okay. All
Uh,
right. So I'll
so
decide whether your list is the best or the worst based on my opinion of your opinion.
okay, that's fair. I finally watched last year because I was going to Japan, Fast and Furious 3, Tokyo Drift.
Okay.
Um, I liked it.
Okay.
All right. I had never seen any other Fast and Furious movie other than the first one.
I've
I've
seen the
never even
first
seen,
two.
I've never seen the second one. Uh, to me, it feels more like it was a genuine attempt to capture a specific part of car culture. Uh, even though like the beginning third of the movie is absolute cheese, um, or at
It's
least
part in America, right?
the opening scene, yeah, it's like so cheesy. Um,
I feel like
but
I've seen the opening scene. The opening scene is with the Monte Carlo race.
yeah, through like a subdivision in like Southern California, and they're
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that scene and didn't make it past that. I was like, nope, I'm out.
yeah, but once you get past that, um, it spends the rest of the movie is basically in Japan. And for what it's worth, they filmed most of it in Japan on location. Uh,
Okay.
and it's got some cheesy parts, but it's pretty fun. And there's a lot of cool parts of it and a lot of stuff you'll recognize, knowing what you know about things from Japan. So, um, I think it's worth a watch.
All right.
It's not the best movie, but it's not,
Well,
I wouldn't throw it away.
there aren't many car movies that I would say are the best movie of all time.
No.
So that's not a surprise. And when we get to my list of favorites, some of them are very campy and cheesy, but we love them for what we love them for. So I, based on this recommendation and this recommendation solely, because I've never heard you give positive praise to any Fast and the Furious movie.
I like
So
the first one.
I might give it I might give it a chance. But I've seen the first two, and almost feel like I've seen enough of the seven after that or eight after that to know basically each one of them just from like clips on the internet. But I'll give three a chance.
Yeah.
I'll give three a chance. When Naomi listens, she'll be excited to hear that because
3,
she'll want to watch it with me.
I think, is probably the last one that was actually like a car movie, and then after that, maybe they became just straight action movies.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any of them, so I couldn't tell you.
So, yeah, that's why I stopped. I don't I couldn't even tell you what 4 was. So, but
It's four Fast, Four Furious, actually, Andrew.
mm, okay.
Uh-huh.
That's on title alone,
I
I
have
don't
no
want to
I,
watch it.
I have no idea what it's called. It's probably not that. It's probably Fast Four or something. No idea.
Um, so some newer movies that have come out, the Gran Turismo movie, I watched it sort of. I didn't finish it. I got like three-quarters of the way through and I've never turned it back on. Just wasn't doing it for
Okay.
me.
So I saw that movie in the theater, and I watched the whole thing 'cause I was in the theater. And my thought process on that movie, I think we probably talked about this movie when it came out. Maybe we didn't because you hadn't seen it yet, and I was waiting for you to see it. It's just Rocky with cars.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's it's just the underdog story. It has a montage of training. It has the big finale, the big fight slash race finale. I took a lot of heat because I said that the car crash, the big like flipping over out the racetrack crash was over the top and dumb. Um, And then I was informed that that was actually a crash that happened in F1, and it looked very similar to that. And then I was sent links of the actual crash, and I will admit that the actual crash looked like a fake movie stunt. So if they were trying to replicate that, they did a good job because the crash in the movie looked like a fake movie stunt. So I guess art imitates life at that point, but it doesn't change my opinion on the movie. I enjoyed the movie strictly from a movie aspect, the same way I enjoy a Rocky movie or any other underdog sports story because it's every sports story movie just told around cars. So
I actually don't remember the guy's name, but he was a real driver that was found through the uh, whatever the Gran Turismo Academy. I think that's what it's called. But like,
yes,
I think an actual documentary about it would have been more interesting because he made it really far, and then because Sony was partnered with Nissan, Nissan completely uh, fumbled their sports car
yeah,
program at the time. It basically, and then he had that really bad wreck, which also didn't help. Like it basically, like kind of, um, kind of ruined a. Well, I don't want to say ruin it because I heard that I actually don't even know his name because he's not obviously not super famous. And I'm sure there's a couple of people screaming at their radio right now that they know the guy's name, but it kind of like really set back his career and but that would be an interesting
J-
documentary, I think.
Jan or Jan Martinborough.
Yeah, like like it would have made like a far more interesting documentary, I
Oh
think.
no, I'm pretty sure. I think it was a TV show, wasn't it? A TV show? Didn't they do GT Academy as a weekly show at the time?
I don't remember.
They might have. Maybe they didn't.
And then
I don't know.
I want to see a
Anyway, I thought
documentary about the
I enjoyed it.
creation of Gran Turismo, the game.
The actual
That would
game
be
itself.
the actual
Yeah,
game.
I'd watch
Yeah.
that. Yeah, 100%. I'd watch that.
So
It's made for a very limited audience, but I like it.
I don't know, the game's pretty
I bet
popular.
people would watch it. Yeah, it's a very popular game. Yeah, no, I enjoyed Gran Turismo the movie, but I did not. I would never put it on any of my top any number list of car movies. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again, but I enjoyed it in the theater by going into it knowing I was probably not going to watch an accurate car movie, and I was correct. So the story of an elderly man racing F1 is also completely and totally unbelievable, but that's fine.
Yeah. So even though I watch a lot of stuff on Apple TV and they own the F1 movie and it's always trying to get me to watch it, I've not watched it yet.
Oh wait, I just confused two different movies together. I was talking about
Similar
F1. You're talking about
story,
Gran Turismo. Yeah,
ish, like except F1 is basically Top Gun in cars, or Days of Thunder, which is Top
but
Gun in cars, sort of.
it's also the same plot line of sport movie. Like
It is.
this underdog won't make it. Oh, we're gonna train real hard, and I was gonna make it. So my brain just totally conflated those two movies, and I was reviewing them. Talking about the F1 crash, we're talking about Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo crash also was cheesy, but based on reality, but more cheesy. The F1 movie is the one that has the crash that was based on a real F1 crash. So forget everything I said about Gran Turismo. I still enjoyed Gran Turismo as a sports movie. F1 I enjoyed less, I'd say.
It's it's still the sports movie trope is what. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
should probably just watch it because I've heard, we were at the sports car race. We're at Daytona 24 Hours, what they used for some of the filming.
Hmm.
Uh, so that'd be interesting to see it.
You
And
don't see much.
all right. Well, it used a lot of practical effects, right? A lot of cool filming techniques. Not a ton of CGI, so that's cool. So I probably enjoy that part of it. But yeah, the story is a little suspect.
It is what it is. Listen, if I can go watch Batman fly from rooftop to rooftop, I guess I can watch an F1 movie with a
Yeah,
little bit of non-practical
yeah.
effects.
It's not meant. It's not a documentary. It's not Drive to Survive. It's a movie,
Sure.
so it's going to
Yeah.
be fictionalized to make it look cool, which is the
And
way
we're
they
also
want.
not F1 people, so
Yeah,
we give Days of Thunder a pass because we're NASCAR fans, but also the movie probably isn't the best movie. So
The Talladega Nights has equally good driving as Days of Thunder, like
It
driving
does.
scenes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Moving
it's
on, Talladega Nights, great movie.
I do love Talladega Nights, and
Yeah.
and I don't know because it does I don't know it does accurately like lampoon NASCAR, especially of the era that when the movie was made.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah, so that is a fun one.
Yep,
Um,
100%. We are pro Talladega Nights, less pro F1.
so then now,
Also pro Days of Thunder,
okay, it's been a long
which you should
time since
watch
I've
now
seen it.
as a
Yeah,
rest in peace, Robert Duvall.
it's been a long time since I've seen it. So, and actually, I'm not even sure if I've seen the whole movie. I may not have seen it, the whole thing. I may just be thinking of all the scenes that I've seen.
That's surprising knowing your movie watching history because you've seen all the movies.
Yeah, it might have just, it's, I don't know. It's one of those things like, because as a kid, maybe I didn't see it. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I didn't see it contemporarily when it came out. I saw it as an adult later on, but
yeah,
it could be one of those things too where you didn't want to watch it because you were a NASCAR fan and didn't want to watch something that was not accurate. It's like
maybe.
I grew up being a huge like Titanic nerd, so I refused to watch that movie when it came out. So I was like, no, they're gonna get all the facts wrong. I'm gonna be mad because I'm a giant nerd about this
I,
thing.
I think it's actually
So,
pretty accurate, isn't it? Because James Cameron's like a big Titanic nerd.
I guess it is pretty accurate. I still have never seen it, so
Really?
I refused to watch it when it came out, and then I just never had a chance to see it again.
You're challenged. You should watch it. It's not a
Opportunity
bad
never
movie
came
at
through.
all.
I don't know. Should I watch Tokyo Drift or Titanic?
You should
You
watch
know,
both.
I got so limited time.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Titanic's like almost 4 hours long.
Yeah, that's the same reason that was The Gentleman has been on my queue with Netflix for like 3.5 years,
Really
four and
great.
a half years now. Because it's like 3.5 hours long. And I'm like, not now.
Yeah. Um, yeah, just it's just funny because I didn't see it more than once. I only saw it once in the theater, but it was like
Sure.
felt like a real cultural moment when everybody was seeing Titanic in the theater. So
Listen, it probably was, but at the time, I refused. And then since then, I've never seen it. And I unapologetically never seen that movie. So
but all right.
it is what
Sticking
it
with
is.
Cars movies. The
Yes.
Cars movies,
On to
actually.
boats.
Um well, there actually is an airplane universe in the Cars universe. There's two airplane movies, which are okay.
I assume that there are boats too, though, right?
There are boats.
Yeah.
Um
There's no boats in the Cars movies.
yes, there are. The
Oh, yes,
second
there is
one.
in the third one.
The second one. Second one, Michael Caine
You're
starts the
you're
movie on a
you're
boat.
you're the one with a 6-year-old, so I got a
I
5-year-old.
so this is so yeah, so sorry. So the Cars movies, right? So I saw the first one when it came to DVD back in the day cuz
I
I was
saw it
like in my 20s.
I saw it in the theater with
Okay.
what year did that movie come out?
2006.
So 2006 was 10 years ago.
No.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Quiet you. So I probably took my cousin Austin to it. It's probably why I went to with it. If I
Yeah.
had to think. 'Cause he's probably like 3 at the time.
Yeah. So, you know, I hadn't really seen it more than like once, maybe twice. And then, I have a son and he's 5 now. We've probably watched the whole trilogy. I mean, he's watched it more than me. I've probably seen it tangentially just by being in the same room 20 to 30 times.
Well, I will
Um,
say you guys were staying here for like a month a couple years ago when he was almost 4. And in that month you guys were here, I think I saw it 6 more times.
yeah.
So I can only imagine how many times you've seen it since then.
I don't I don't mind it because I like them. I like them. I mean,
Sure.
where does it rank in Pixar movies? That's up for debate because there's a lot of great Pixar movies.
And
But
we're also biased.
yeah, one is pretty great because that's just basic. That's a NASCAR story. And it's got great
It's the
cameos
F1
in it.
story, but with NASCAR.
Yeah, basically, it's a sports story.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, It's got a lot of great cameos though, cool details. It's a cool one.
I always like the details, all the little things they put in to really like tickle car people. I think
The Tappet
is
brothers,
why I liked it. So
right? That's cool. Um, you know, was it? What is he like? Why don't race cars have lights? Because the track is always lit, like my brother.
yeah, yeah, they're pretty good. It's a very good movie for sure.
um, two is like a weird departure, where it's like uh, a spy movie. So
So
I'll give it
also
to him.
two's the one with Michael Caine as the like
Double O
Aston
Seven.
Martin double oh
Yeah.
007 sports car. Okay, so
Yep.
that's what I was thinking of when I said
Yep.
three. 'Cause I thought that was three.
But two also takes place like over the world. They're like in Tokyo. That's like the first place they go. So that's kind of cool. Um, and there's like some nods to like Tokyo Drift stuff in there because it came out in 2011. And I think the reason why they went with a different direction was because Paul Newman had died in 2008. So they couldn't, I think they didn't know what to do about that. So they just like wrote a different type of movie. So Doug Hudson wasn't in it. Um, and it's okay. My son likes it. I I begrudgingly watch it. It's not my favorite one, but it's not bad. It's got some fun parts. Um, the F1 car is pretty funny. Francisco Bernoulli. So
Mhm.
all the great little puns they have. So um and then, 3 is probably my favorite. You've seen 3, right? I think we probably watched it when we were at your house.
More than likely. What was the plot of three?
3 is now he's been in the series, the Piston Cup series for a long time. He's like number 1, but now all the rookies are all of a sudden getting faster. So Lightning McQueen is aging out.
So
So he's got to come to
it's the Kyle Busch story.
yeah. So
Yes.
it's the F1 story.
Yeah. True.
uh, but he decides to like uh instead of trying to beat him, becomes a more of a mentor figure,
He's
and
Doc.
he becomes Doc.
You know, I've probably seen it once. I don't think I've seen it many times.
The reason why it works so well is, I guess, during the original movie they did a lot of extra recordings of Paul Newman, so they're able to like add in stuff from
Okay,
back then. So that was kind of cool.
that's cool.
And then it deals with they go back to like they have the character that's like Smokey Yunick. He's like the truck. So they go back to like the classic NASCAR tracks, and they do like a mud like demolition derby track, like a little like that kind of like local track stuff.
Saturday
So
Night Specials.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any recollection of this, so maybe I haven't seen it, or maybe I have. But
Well,
also, when you guys were here, there was a bunch of shorts that he watched too, like
yes,
little like 5 to 10 minute vignettes of the Cars universe. So I think I'm confusing a lot of those in my head because I was only like halfway
probably.
paying attention. So I'll have to sit down and watch number three next time we have like the kids, all the grandkids over for something. Well, maybe we should do movie nights and I'll make them watch
3 is
number
pretty good. Yeah, watch it with all the grandkids, or when we come and
So
visit,
number
we'll
two
watch
is the
it.
all in all one, right?
Oil and all in oil, something. Yeah,
All in all, it's like
yeah.
the fake. Yeah, okay.
Alternative fuel. Yeah, fake oil fuel.
I've definitely seen that one
Yeah.
many times.
Um.
But cool.
Yeah, that one's. Yeah, those are pretty good. Now that I've, it's like maturing. You're like, yeah, these are actually pretty good. um.
Sure.
And then I did like 5 movies here because I don't want to rehash like old movies that we've talked about to death, like Bullet and Le
No, I mean
Mans
it
and
makes
all those
sense to
stuff,
talk about a few new
F1
ones. Yeah.
or Grand Prix. Um, which yeah, they're all kind of that'd be a good double feature, I guess. Probably I should watch F1 and or Grand Prix and F1. But anyway, getting off topic as usual.
A whole day. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the made for Netflix movie, direct to streaming, Wheelman with Frank Grillo, where he's a
Hmm.
wheelman for like organized crime. Um, That
Yeah,
movie
it's
rips. I love that movie.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
like all the little touches that that movie has, and his whole thing about demanding. He wants a specific Momo in the car, and he wants a
yeah,
specific car, and he wants the whole thing exactly for him. Is I'd be lying to you if I told you when I bought that Momo that was going to go in the Mercor that is now going to go to Starion if I wasn't thinking about that movie when I chose the Monte Carlo over the Classico. So
because you know, a movie like that. So it takes place in like Boston. Um, I don't know if
yeah,
they
it's filmed in
specifically say
Lawrence.
Boston.
No, it's filmed in Lawrence.
Yeah, it was filmed around this area where
Yeah.
I live, where you used to live.
Hmm.
So I don't know if they mentioned that specifically as part of the plot. I don't remember, but
I don't think so.
you can recognize some of the places and like the way it's filmed. It's like that very early. When did it come out? 2017. So it still has
Probably
that
16 or
like
17.
uh, it's got that like very sharp, like it was probably filmed on like DLSRs, like, and it's just like I don't know how to describe it. It's like tight. It's like, or it doesn't feel like an expansive world. You're very much restricted to just him in the car and the street setting that he's in. It doesn't really get much out of the car,
It's
and it just makes
very much like The Duel is filmed that way.
yeah, yeah. He's
Also,
only ever talking to his adversary. Kind of seems like on the phone. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just a cool movie. I like it. It's one of my
yep,
favorites. I should
yep,
rewatch it
nope.
again.
I was just thinking I'm gonna rewatch that.
Yeah,
So,
it's only like an hour and a
100%.
half too. It's a real
Yeah,
tight movie.
yeah. That's
But
gonna get rewatched for sure.
so that's
Was it called
probably
The
one of my
Driver?
favorites. Wheelman.
Wheelman, Wheelman, Wheelman.
Driver is Ryan Gosling, which also I haven't watched in a while, but I should rewatch that because that was pretty
Oh,
fun
there's
too.
Driver and The Driver.
The Driver is the '70s one.
Yes. I still have not found a copy of that to watch, but I really want to watch it
Interesting.
because the video game that we used to love, Driver,
Yeah,
was based on that movie.
yeah,
So I really want to watch that movie. But um, yeah, that's I took a different approach to this task, and I picked favorite movies,
that's fine.
car movies. Um, but I think we need to touch on Ford v Ferrari came out since our last
Okay.
recording of movies,
Yep.
so that's an important one. That was a good movie despite some minor inaccuracies.
Yeah.
Um, but that's only because we're giant car nerds. I think overall, that's one of the best movies to mix true to life car story and Hollywood together without terribleness.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off hokey at all. There's a couple of scenes where you're just like, that wouldn't have exactly worked like that, but okay, it's fine. I'm going to allow Hollywood to be Hollywood. But that is one of my favorite. I wouldn't call it a documentary, but it's uh, based on a true story. It's more
Yeah.
than
It's one
loosely
of those.
based. It's pretty accurate, minus a couple of things.
Hmm.
So I was pretty stoked with that one. Um, and I think Baby Driver had come out when we talked about it last
Yeah,
time
that
because
was
I think that was probably the
2017, I
impetus.
think.
It was probably the impetus for making that episode. We probably had just gone and seen Baby Driver at that point. So
You know what's
also a very fun movie.
now that you're mentioning it, and it's just popping in my head. Ford versus Ferrari. There is a, I think it was made pretty recently. It was a Frank Grillo movie where he's head of Lamborghini. It's a biopic. Um,
Have you
I don't
seen
think
it?
it did very well. I never really heard
Have,
much
have,
about it.
have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I'll have to send you the
Okay,
trailer.
it is
I should try to watch it.
no, no, no,
It's
no. I've
bad.
watched it. It is
It's,
very bad.
it is
It's a
very
bad
bad.
movie. Yeah, it's a bad movie.
It's the duality of Frank Grillo. He can be in like a really
Yeah,
great actor or in some really bad movies. But like I said, I always say everybody needs a paycheck. So sometimes I feel like actors just take certain movies
yeah.
just
That
to,
movie was very bad. There's a
okay.
Ferrari movie too that came out
Adam
recently
Driver,
as
right?
well. That without a driver. Yeah,
As
I have
Enzo
not seen
Ferrari,
that
which is
one.
weird. But yeah,
I
I
have
guess
not seen that one yet. But
we have some homework to do.
the Lamborghini movie was bad.
It's bad.
It's
If
bad.
it's free streaming, maybe I'll try it. I'm not paying
So
for it though. To see
I
it's so
saw it on
bad.
an airplane. So
Oh, it wasn't even a good airplane movie.
no, it was a bad movie.
Yeah. Sometimes there's good airplane movies that they're bad otherwise, but they're good on an airplane.
One of the best movies I ever saw on an airplane is tangentially car related, and it's probably not the best movie ever, but is it Logan Lucky, the race car
Oh,
theft movie?
yes, that is one of my favorite movies, and it is
Yeah.
tangentially related to NASCAR.
Yeah, I saw that movie on an airplane. That was one
That's
of
an
my best
excellent
airplane movie
movie.
experiences. Yeah. So that was a really good one. Um, so unfortunately, I'm like an old soul when it comes to car movies, and I always go back to my favorites. And whenever we're talking about somebody says, "What are your favorite car movies?" I mean, Bullet gets it for like just a one car scene, obviously, but overall, it's not the greatest movie.
Mm,
But if somebody said you can only have, Deserted Island, one car movie, what's it gonna be? For me, it's Cannonball Run,
okay. Yeah.
just because it's dumb, but it's fun. And I credit Cannonball Run 1 and 2 with most of my automotive taste pre Gran Turismo.
All right. Yeah, I
And
can see
then
that.
Gran Turismo kind of took it over from there. So the coolest thing about Cannonball Run, and also Gumball Rally's up there too, because it's the same kind of movie, but just like
Mhm.
a competing movie. But the coolest thing about Cannonball Run was that it's no secret that I love giant oversized driving lights.
Yeah.
And every car in the movie has giant oversized driving lights on it. And I think that is part of my love for big dumb fog lights in the front of cars. In fact, the opening scene of the movie is um Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise working on a brown early 70s 911, and behind them on shelves are just hundreds of boxes of Hella driving lamps.
Hmm.
And it's just like they obviously sponsored the movie because every car's got a giant set of Hellas on the front of it, whether they're big round 500s um, or square ones. Every car has got a set of Hellas on it. Even the Countach has got a row of Hellas going across the front of it.
Yep.
And then Cannonball Run 2 introduces us to the Starion,
Yep.
which is just an incredibly important moment in my life. So, and Jackie Chan being the gadget operator in the Starion with Richard Karn driving the thing. So very very cool movies for me growing up. Those were like if it ever came on TV, you bet I'm watching it. Um, there aren't many modern car movies that I've seen nearly as many times as those movies, or Smokey and the Bandit, or any of those cheesy comedies with Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise that revolved around cars. I'll always go back to those as my favorites. Um, and in the world of movies, there's probably no movie I've seen more than Cannonball Run 1 and 2 combined. So, Talladega Nights is also in my top 5.
Yep.
I put that in there for sure. And then the end of my top 5 is probably Baby Driver
Okay.
or Drive with Ryan Gosling. They're both like in there as far as modern movies go. I didn't want to put all old movies in there, just because I didn't want to be the old man, but I just love Cannonball Run so much. In fact, I might watch it after this because I haven't seen it in a while and I have it on DVD. So
There was a
those are my favorites for sure.
there was a point when I was a kid and we had Blockbuster Video. When I would go to rent a video, there was a while where I was like doing all of those style movies, like did all the Cannonball Runs I could find. Then I did like Speed Zone. I would do like all the variants. Do you ever
Yep.
see Speed Zone?
Yep. John Candy. That's the one with the Countach that skips across the lake.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So that's an even cheesier version of Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
I asked Naomi before we podcasted what her favorite car movies were, and she lists Smoking the Bandit as her favorite car movie
It's pretty good.
because growing up, her mom drove a Trans Am,
Yeah.
and it was that movie was on TV once a week somewhere.
Constantly.
But she also reminded me to bring up, because it had been since the last time we recorded about car movies, that she introduced me to Gung Ho. You ever seen Gung Ho?
I tried to watch it and I got through the first quarter of it, and I don't know why I just like lost interest,
Okay,
but I should rewatch it.
you should watch it. It's a fun one. Remember when it was made, and don't get too angry about the
Yeah.
overtly racist title and plot points. But it's that's a good one. I think is that Kurt Russell? I don't remember who the main star is. It might be Kurt Russell, and it's
No,
all about
not Kurt
no.
Russell.
I'm thinking Used Cars. Used Cars is Kurt Russell.
My God, he played Batman.
Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right, Michael Keaton. Anyway, the basic plot is an American manufacturer is struggling, and they are bringing over a Japanese car company to build cars here. So the biggest plot hole in that movie, which you would probably definitely notice, is some scenes were filmed in the United States, and when they're being filmed in the United States, the car that the company is producing is an L-bodied, like Plymouth Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are other scenes when they're actually in the factory building the car, and they filmed it in South America at a Renault factory. So all the
Mm-hmm.
cars that are supposed to be the same cars are totally different cars. So ignore that fact. And it's a funny movie. But yeah, it's definitely very 80s, and it's definitely what I think we would call in 2026 racially insensitive. But it does touch on the whole like American car companies not knowing what to do to compete with the Japanese cars back in the 70s and early 80s. And it's kind of a neat period look into that time and thought process. So that's a fun one too that I had never seen, and Naomi was surprised I'd never seen it. So we watched that one together, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, much like any 80s movie, just remember when it was made, and times they were different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, don't watch some PG movies from the 80s with your children because they're not PG. I'm looking at you, meatballs. But anyway, so yeah, those are my my go-tos all the time. You know, we touched on all the newer movies. None of them have surpassed to me those original ones, and maybe it's nostalgia and just the types of cars that are in the movie. Because I know that the movies aren't great. They're also culturally and racially insensitive. I'm sure they have sped up film to like make the cars go going faster. But something about it just appeals to my childlike car brain, and I will never not enjoy them. So it's a few movies like that from that era, but Cannonball Run 1 and 2 and Gumball Rally are definitely on repeat in my brain at all times. So that's it for me for car movies. So that's your
Cool.
list. Go watch all those movies, everybody, and then tell
Yep.
us why we're wrong.
Yep.
So
All right. That was a fun podcast.
yeah, no NASCAR this week, everybody. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, they had an off week.
Easter break. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Follow us on Instagram, Off Topic. I'm on Instagram, Race and Anger, Scale Autocast. Message us and you can join the Discord.
Yeah.
Brad,
2 new
where can they-
members this week.
Yeah, Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me on Discord. They can find me at Scale Autocast on Instagram. And my personal Instagram, as always, is TSISS350. If you're listening to this and you're in the Arizona area this Sunday, I will be going to the Copper State 1000 kickoff car show. That's one of my favorite weekends here in the Valley. It's usually, unfortunately, signifying the end of the cool weather car season here, but it's a really neat event. The participants of the Copper State have high end sports cars that are fun to watch. They leave while the car show is going on to start the rally, and they all kind of rip by and hear them, and it's kind of neat to hear like old Maseratis at song. And the car show is bring what you want. There's no limitation. Just any car you think is cool, bring it to the car show. We will be there with the Arizona Rising Sun Rally with a little booth set up with information. So if you do have questions about that, you can ask us there as well. Either me or Tim or Eric or Lane. I think all 4 of us will be there. So come see us there. That's this weekend's event in the Phoenix area.
All right, cool.
It's at it's at the California Angels Spring Training Stadium,
training.
which I forget the name of. Yeah. So somewhere in Tempe.
Yeah, I was gonna say spring training should be over.
Spring training is well over. Baseball has
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Red Sox are losing already.
All right.
I say that out of my butt. I have no idea.
All right. Keep your cars analog. Any of the roses.